Mr. Komo, let's look at some of the figures that they put to this, that there were 65 attacks by Boko Haram, causing over 400 civilian deaths in 2017. You're a security expert. In that area, what can you say about this particular study?
Well, I think the study, I think it's a little bit jaundiced. I think it's very prejudiced in its conclusion. Now, perhaps where it talks about things like court judgments not being obeyed and stuff by, let's say, the Lagos State government, the eviction, the forcible evictions, those kinds of things. That's excessive use of power. Those ones are okay. I think I'll let the state government worry about their problems, because we've seen a lot of excesses in that area, like what just happened in Kaduna a few days ago. But I think what concerns me is this concerted effort by AI and HRW and whoever else is out there in the so-called human rights community to demonize the Nigerian military, because we have a fresh conflict at hand. We have this Boko Haram insurgency, and that is what we are trying to, resolve. We're trying to resolve, and in this case, it's an armed conflict. We're trying to resolve it militarily. Now, I think the Nigerian military has been a poster boy for what should be done in these kinds of armed conflicts. This ugly contrivance that AI has about abuses. When you say abuses, now you say Lagos State government forcibly evicted 5,400 persons, but now you are calling in the Nigerian military in the same breath. It will appear as if it's the Nigerian military that was used to carry out those kinds of excesses. I mean, it's a very prejudicial and very ugly reporting. It's in very poor taste, if I may say. However, let's look at the facts. Now, the Nigerian military, let's look at that report. I've seen the report. It says they have 4,900 captives or detainees in Giwa barracks. Is the size of the conflict. First of all, how did they get that number? Because all the sources of information that was just given, information from witnesses and victims, that cannot tell you the number of the actual number of detainees. You can only get that from the authorities. Ground verification, they didn't go into Giwa barracks for sure. They didn't go into Giwa barracks in Maiduguri to confirm that. Court judgments, well, yes, there have been court judgments in the case of BH. 205 people have been convicted by the Federal High Court in Kainji, that's now adjudicating the case. That is the BH cases. And some are being let go. They are being discharged and acquitted. So what I'm trying to say is that what AI needs to do is perhaps engage more with the military and get confirmation. If you say abuse, human rights abuse, you mean somebody was maybe denied right to life or somebody was tortured. Now, if there are cases of that nature, you should get in with the military authorities and find out. But here, that somebody who was taken out of the battlefield was held as a detainee. I mean, this is the...
They are not talking about the fact that they can't detain.
Yes,
but the conditions
and
that detention camp.
Yes. Well, okay, I saw the report again said 304 persons died since whenever, I think whether since 2011 or whenever, when they've been in detention. People die. I mean, more people die. In fact, hold on, ma'am. More people die out of Lassa fever than have died in military detention. So come on, let's not trivialize this thing. First of all, how did they get those figures? You see, that's what the point I'm making to you here is that these kinds of institutions should always get their confirmation. It says ground verification. Ground verification, how do you get ground verification? I mean, I don't want to get into many other cases of this nature.
I'm sure she will still respond to some of these things.
I believe she will.
She said earlier that they also speak with the government. They do the groundwork. They speak with the victims. But let me take you to Mr. Bamidele. Do you get a sense of what Mr. Ikomo is talking about concerning this report?
All right, thank you. My perspective will somehow align with this, but there will be a slight difference. And the slight difference for me will be that, first and foremost, I think we should first and foremost agree that whether someone is a criminal yet to be confirmed or a free man living on the street, every man deserves a bit of dignity of life.
Certainly.
Now, having laid that foundation, the next question will be, let's check all our mechanism and our apparatus that has to do with all of this report. The question is, as a nation, can we beat our chest to say, compared to international best practice, we are at par? I think from that angle, I would want to say, while I will not say government has not done anything, I think I would rather want to say there's a lot more to be done.
There's a lot more to be done. In what area?
Okay. Now, take for instance, let's look at the prison system. Not too long ago, I was listening to, what was the head of that institution called, the DG or something? He was lamenting that, for instance, a facility, I'm just using as an example, a facility that is meant for 10 people is having 100. A facility that is meant for 100 people is having 1,000 people. No matter how much the people that work in such an environment want to really stretch themselves, they also still have their limit. And by the time that becomes a norm rather than an exception, then it shows that we have a lot of infrastructural gap, first and foremost, to be very specific. And even the people therein, are they well equipped enough? Is the size enough to take care of this enormity of assignment that is in their hand? So we can go on, but there are specific things that still definitely need to be addressed.
We need to go beyond just the report and look at a system holistically.
Exactly.